Hey, thanks for being a part of the conversation. Let's do it. Let's play it forward. These are real people with real stories. The struggle to play it forward. Episode number 593 is with CNN host Jake Tapper, author of the book, All the Demons Are Here. Hey, good morning, Jake. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning.
Please tell me that your PR department is going to make T-shirts because I want a Marder T-shirt. Because there's something about this story that I really, maybe it's because you bring history into it and you bring the kids. Basically, they're the preacher's kids and they're out there in this story just doing their thing.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I'll tell you what really won me over. I'm from Montana. Evel Knievel was God in Montana.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
are you really from Montana?
I am from Montana.
Oh, yeah.
And there is
I love Montana.
There's a picture of me out there on the web with I'm 14 years old, and there's an Evel Knievel poster behind me inside my bedroom radio station.
Oh, so I got inspired to put him in the book actually I was in Idaho, but I was on the Snake River. And a friend of mine is really into Evel Knievel, and he knew I was going to set my next book in the 70s. And he said, you really got to learn about Evel Knievel. And I said, I don't really get the appeal, honestly. I don't. Like, why? He just kind of seems like a thug to me, and like I get the stunts and everything. But he said, you really got to learn about it. And he told me to watch this documentary called Being Evil that Johnny Knoxville helped produce. And I watched it and I was like, oh, this is really an interest. Like he's like an American archetype. Like this, he's like a salesman. He's a showman. He's P.T. Barnum. You know, he's Donald Trump. I don't mean any of this in a negative way, but like he is just this guy who can put butts in the seats and like through sheer force of will and charisma turn himself into anything. Not a gifted motorcyclist at all, but like makes himself this person that like to this day inspires Tony Hawk and Johnny Knoxville and all the extreme athletes. And so I learned about him and I was like, okay, this is a great character. Jimmy was right.
I love the way that you've developed a formula here that really does it brings history into the moment and you build a story around that history. I love doing that, and I wish more people would do that because we're all holding in so much content, but we don't know what to do with it. You're creating books.
Well, it's just, first of all, I love learning about these eras and what they say about American history today by looking at American history yesterday. Everybody thinks we're experiencing everything for the first time now. And you realize we've been through versions of all of this before. Like somebody said once, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And whether it's the McCarthy era, which I wrote about in the first book, The Hellflower Club, or the Rat Pack, which I wrote about in the second book, The Devil May Dance, or the 70s, there's you can just hear the rhyming. There was this thing in the 70s that I remember vaguely, but it was this fake cure for cancer called Laetrile.
Yes.
And it was this theory that this basically cyanide from apricot pits could cure cancer, and it couldn't. And the CDC and the NIH were saying, no, this doesn't work. But the public, and remember, cancer treatments at the time were not as successful as they are today, even though obviously they're still not as successful as we need them to be. But the public was very frustrated, and they didn't understand, and they didn't, why can't we just try it? Why can't we just try it? And this was a big thing. And Jimmy Carter, the president, in 1977, when the book takes place, he would do these radio call-ins, and, you know, somebody would ask about it, and, you know, the Department of, it was called Health and Education and Welfare at the time, would look into it and say, you know, it just doesn't work. But people wanted to believe in it. Steve McQueen, the great actor, went down to Mexico, and he died of cancer in Mexico because he was doing this Laetrile. But anyway, the mistrust of the CDC, the mistrust of the NIH, the idea that the government is keeping something from us. It's, you know, it's all, we see it today too. And, you know, it's just all these things that happened then, and they're happening again today.
You know, I could see your books being a 10-part series on Netflix or Hulu. Are you going to jump in that direction at all?
Yeah, so, you know, right before the writer's strike, I was talking with a major streamer, and hopefully I'll be able to announce which one soon, but you've heard of it, I promise, and talking to a major executive producer, and talking to Christian Slater, the actor, about playing Charlie for The Devil May Dance. That's the one that takes place in 1962, with the Rat Pack.
Yes.
And talking to them about making that one, which they thought was the most commercial. I hadn't written All the Demons Are Here yet, but they thought that was the most commercial of the Hellfire Club and of the two. Because you could cast, who knows, Brad Pitt as Frank Sinatra or whatever, and turn it into a real commercial enterprise. So, I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Now the writer's strike is over, thank God, although the actor's strike's still going on. But the writer's strike's over, and we are back at it, and we're going to have our next Zoom conference call next week. With whether Christian's allowed to join the call or not, his wife will be on the call, and we're getting it going. But yeah, no, there is interest in it, and I'm really excited to get it going. And I think I do write these because I'm such a child of movies and TV. I do write these like thinking about them. How would this look, the movie version? Not just because I want there to be a movie version, but just because that's, how I was raised to think of drama, right? I mean, because I wasn't raised in the theater. I was raised in the movie theater.
That's right. Wow. Dude, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, cool. Well, just anytime you want me, just reach out to my PR people. I'd love to come on.
I love it. Be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Thank you. I appreciate it.